Hey everybody, this is Zach Rosen from The New Gay. I'm here at Netroots Nation in Las Vegas with Pam Spaulding from Pam's House Blend. Pam, how are you?
Fine, thanks for interviewing me.
Oh, anytime, Pam. It's cool that I'm tracking you down, because I'd say you're one of the most recognizable both faces and voices in the blogosphere.
Okay.
Yeah, you're kind of one of our go-to people. Why don't you describe a little bit just kind of the work that you do for people that might not be familiar to start off?
Well, I am a full-time blogger who has a full-time day job, so I fit in blogging when I should be sleeping or eating lunch or eating dinner or spending time with my wife. But she's very understanding that this is really for the good of all of us, and particularly because we live in North Carolina where we don't have any couples rights, even though we're legally married.
Right. And how do you mix kind of local community blogging versus more large-scale activism? Is that a hard balance to strike?
Not really. I mean, I blog about North Carolina politics. I've been covering the U.S. Senate race here. Richard Burr is running for re-election, and we recently have nominated Elaine Marshall to take him on, and we think we have a really good chance of beating him. But it's interesting that I've also blogged about very local issues. Mm-hmm. In fact, on a panel I was talking about a column I wrote for the local paper on pit bull advocacy, and I have received the most mail, hate mail and positive mail from that I've had for the blog in a lot of cases on LGBT stuff.
Oh, cool. And something I've noticed also is it used to be that, the New York Times printed an article and then people would say, the New York Times says, and now it's shifted to actually you, Pam Spaulding, are the voice that is speaking. How much pressure do you feel?
Well, I don't feel like there's a lot of pressure. I mean, I know that there are a lot of influential eyes on the blog, and I've known that for some time. It doesn't really influence what I write. What is interesting is that there are relationships developing between traditional media and bloggers. And a lot of times that it has been seen as an adversarial relationship, but I've always said that it's more symbiotic. As the traditional media goes through a lot of changes and shrinking and dealing with the cost of publishing in print, they've realized that they can work with bloggers to increase their traffic to their online presence. Right. And by allowing us to share snippets of their posts or some of their multimedia and point back to them, they actually do get an increase in traffic and more eyeballs on their content. But I think the larger issue is how can we work together to continue to build advocacy within the movement. They handle the traditional journalism side, and we do traditional journalism, but we readily admit that there's an advocacy role.
Yeah.
And so I think that there's room for both, and it's necessary for both. And I think part of going to a conference like Netroots Nation is you get to meet some of these traditional media people and bloggers that you will never meet offline in any other circumstance. And so I think it's a great event. It's the one big conference I'm always really ready and anxious to attend.
Cool. I also could not help noticing that you are not a white man. And, it's people tend to say, and I think it's true, that most of the dominant voices in queer media tend to be white men. I assume that's probably where a lot of your fan base comes from.
Yes. I mean, when I break it down, it's about half men, half women. It is a mostly white audience. There's a good, healthy dose of people of color that read. And I just think it's a good way to sort of bridge some cross-cultural understanding.
Yeah.
There's so many of our issues that are the same. And there are conflicts and biases within the movement that we have to do a lot of work on. And I really encourage people to come on and share their views and ask the dumb questions that you've always wanted to ask, because I'm not going to attack people for trying to educate themselves about communities that they're not familiar with or just don't come in contact with all that often. I think that people really do need to commingle more.
Do you think it's easier to ask these questions online or by writing an article than it is to go up to someone and say, hey, what's it like being not me?
It's easier online, but it's surprisingly there are a lot of people who are reticent, even if they have a pseudonym when they're commenting, to actually lodge their opinion or question online, because they still have an identity online. So I think people they're shy about it. They feel ignorant about some subjects, and I really tell people, please ask, because you're not the only one that probably is wondering about this question, whether it be race or a gender-based question.
Right.
And you just have to be willing to put yourself out there. I receive lots of personal emails from people who aren't willing to comment on the blog because they don't want to engage with people who are commenting and might be a little coarse. And I usually take those emails fairly seriously because they're reaching out and they obviously want to either change or understand or be able to feel like how they can converse on difficult subjects. And as someone who takes it on and has taken a lot of abuse for raising some of these issues, I haven't given up. I think that you do have to put yourself out there, and I'm willing to do it. So I really can't complain if I get some very harsh criticism at times.
Just means you're doing something right. People don't react if they don't care.
Right, and there just need to be more people who are willing to put themselves out there and understand that when you receive negative feedback, that isn't always coming from a place of hate. It's most of the time coming from a place of ignorance.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Pam. This is great.
Thanks.
Take care.
Thanks.
Bye.